What's up, y'all? Tommy here, back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about something that you guys have probably seen a lot of other videos about, and people have just been asking me a lot of questions about what my opinions are on it. And that's going to be what I think about Biden saying he's going to cancel the credit bureaus, or basically replace the credit bureaus with you could say a public credit bureau. Okay. Now, if that's something that interests you, be sure that you stay tuned. Yeah, so basically what happened is there's this whole idea out there that, Biden has created or is planning on creating a plan to replace the credit bureaus. Now, and I've written a couple notes here just to make sure I touch on everything. But, his idea is that it's eventually going to replace the 3 credit bureaus. So it'll be a government-run credit bureau, and it's going to, at the beginning, just kind of run, parallel to the other bureaus. And then eventually, once it's gathered enough information, then it's going to replace the other credit bureaus, and there will be no other need for those guys. Okay. Now, also what he's planning on doing is it's going to be housed within the CFPB, which is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Okay. Now, to kind of give you a little more idea of like where this all came from and, what the thought process is behind it. It was actually created by a think tank out in Washington, D.C. So this is a company called Demos. They're a think tank out there that kind of like does a lot of public policy stuff. And they really wanted to focus on what looks like 5 key aspects of it, right? The first one being equity, focusing on other data sources as opposed to just straight up lending. So other data sources being things like banking information, utility bills, rent, things that you're kind of seeing that there's already like third-party providers trying to use that information and link it to the credit bureaus. They're kind of trying to do, they're basically saying like that's the way of the future, right? That's kind of where we should be heading. On top of that, they want to really focus on transparency, basically saying they want to make the algorithm public in terms of how a credit score is calculated. So whenever that's mentioned, at first I wasn't sure if they really understood how all the pieces were, but what I'm thinking is that they're even not just trying to replace the credit bureaus, but trying to replace credit scores as well, right? For those of you guys who know, your credit score is calculated by a whole different company than the credit bureaus. What happens is there's a company called the Fair Isaac Corporation, which has the FICO score, and FICO score is going to be the most popular one. There's other scoring models out there, but 90% of lenders are going to use the FICO score. And what's happening is they're taking the FICO score or they're taking your credit report and they're running it through their algorithm and using it to generate a score. All right. And no one knows exactly how it's calculated. They obviously give us like a general idea, but we can't say for sure, like, oh, if you do this, your score is going to go up, right? To a T. Like it's going to go up to, a 745 if you follow these steps. So they're basically saying that they want to make that more transparent, right? And be able to make scores and be able to make scores as well as reports completely free to the public. So you'll never have to pay for any of that stuff. On top of that, they want to focus on accuracy, basically saying data furnishers have to provide complete and accurate information or face possible fines. That to me kind of sounds like what it is right now, but I get where they're coming with that. Appropriateness, basically saying that this is actually an interesting one. Basically saying that the reports can only be used for lending purposes. You can't use them for employment, housing, insurance. And I think that one kind of makes sense. It's like, why is the insurance company getting to be able to use your credit report or use your credit to calculate how much they're going to charge you, right? I think that, they've kind of tried to get as many data points on people as possible to kind of better detect who's likely to get into an accident. But I think nowadays, especially with like, a lot of these industries getting disrupted, I've even already seen some new car insurance companies that are trying to just not take any of that information, basically focus on key stuff like how much you drive, where you're located, kind of going back to the basics. But that's something that I found that was pretty interesting. Even employment, housing, that all seems pretty interesting. On top of that, they want to increase security and public awareness, keeping our data secure and educating the public on how their credit works. I think the public awareness side of it is good, educating the consumer. But keeping our data secure, that one, I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny, because considering that the government has gotten hacked so many times, especially this last like 12 months, right? I don't know if you guys have kept up with the news about them getting hacked by, I think one was by Russia or China, I can't remember exactly, right? But there's been two big hacks, right? Where literally the government has gotten hacked and has gotten a lot of information stolen, okay? You can Google that and be able to see that information. One was, I know it was basically what happened is it would go through third party. It wasn't like directly like the government getting hacked, but their systems would get accessed through like a third party that was linked to government servers and things like that. Companies that are working with the government. So once those companies got hacked, then they would get into the government servers and things like that and be able to pull information out. Okay, so yeah, I thought that security piece was pretty interesting, pretty funny. But yeah, so that's really the main things that they want to focus on. I think that, my personal views is I'd rather just stick to what we're doing. There's no reason to change to another system that actually, if you really look at the pieces, kind of sounds like what's going on now. I think that you always want to keep like a layer of protection between you and the reporting agencies, okay? And what I mean by that is, think about whenever you're like trying to dispute an account or something. You can always, I always recommend that you guys dispute accounts. You're talking with the credit bureaus and the data furnisher. So whether that's a debt collector, the creditor, whatever it is, eventually it gets to a point where, maybe they're not willing to remove something, even though you know for a fact that it should be removed. Then that's whenever you can go to, the CFPB. You can go to the FTC, people like that, or agencies like that to help you out. Now, you got to keep in mind, once it's with the government, who are you going to go to for that support? Are you going to reach out to the government? Do you reach out to the CFPB to file a complaint on the CFPB? I don't think that's really going to work out, right? And so that's kind of why the way I'm looking at it is, I'd much rather that there be that degree of separation where it might be a company. Sure, I'm not saying that like the three credit bureaus are doing great. Obviously, they're not. People all have their problems with them, right? But I always know that if it gets bad enough, I can just reach out to the government or these government agencies for them to be able to help investigate on my behalf. Okay, so that's kind of the way I look at it. Even just kind of looking at all these things, I think that that's kind of how the trend is kind of going, right? Whenever I see things about like they want to focus on other data sources, I mean, there's already fintech companies that are already kind of doing that sort of disruption in the finance space. There's a lot of credit card companies or fintech credit cards that are out there that only look at your bank information. They don't care what your credit is. They look at your bank information and find that to be a more accurate representation of yourself, which I think is true. Because think about it, there's so many people. I'm sure you guys have heard stories of like someone, co-signs for somebody else, and then because that person doesn't have good credit, next thing you know, that person ends up burning them because they don't pay on the item, or if it's a car, they get the car repoed, whatever it is. And now, if you're in that situation, right, and you're the one who co-signed for somebody, now you have a repo on your credit report that's going to hurt you, even though you're perfectly fine when it comes to your finances, right? You're responsible. So that's kind of how I look at it. And I think really that's the gist of it, right? I think that it's perfectly fine the way it is. I think that it's more so about you taking advantage of the current system and finding ways to be able to make progress, right? What I recommend is, focus on fixing your credit, but you want to make sure that you're looking at the full picture, right? You want to make sure that like you realize that there's an entire financial picture. So let's say, for example, I want to get a house. I know that if I want to get a house, I have to have good credit, but I also have to have money for the deposit, and I also have to have a certain amount of cash flow, or I have to be making a certain amount of money. I have to have a certain level of income, right? So those are different aspects. We always focus on the credit side of it, but we don't focus on the other aspects. And when you attack all of them at once, then that's whenever you're going to put yourself in a situation where you're most likely to succeed, okay? And kind of touching on that, I probably should have touched on it earlier in the video, but that's kind of where I'm going to be changing or turning my channel towards, is more so speaking on finances as a whole, not just credit. Because I think credit, I've kind of touched on everything, and it's kind of like beating a dead horse, as they say. And I think that I'd rather focus on the everything as a whole. That way you guys can see the full picture of how to improve your finances and how to eventually end up building wealth, right? How to plan for retirement, things like that. Things that maybe you're in a situation where you might not care about, or maybe you do, right? But I want to make sure that I'm giving you that full picture so you can kind of see how this all comes full circle, okay? So that's going to be pretty much it for this video, guys. You know, also, you don't need an 850 credit score. I saw I put that on there. Just want to touch on that real quick. You don't need a 850 credit score. At the most, you probably need like a 720. I think I'm even in like the 770s. I get between 780 to 760, 750, depending on what I'm doing with my credit cards. But yeah, I mean, I think that's just fine, right? And so I have shot other videos on how to improve your credit. So if you're in a situation where you really do need to improve your credit, check out those videos. I'm gonna link to them down below. But really, that's the gist of this video, guys. I think that I wouldn't even worry about this whole thing with the credit bureaus or Biden canceling the credit bureaus or getting rid of the credit bureaus, because if it did happen, it would take years, probably a whole decade, if not more, to get done. And more than likely, I think it's not even going to get done because it seems like it's too large of a feat for him to even want to focus on, considering all the other challenges that he's trying to get done. Okay, but that's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope that made sense to y'all. And that's going to be it. I will see you guys at the next one. Peace.